people don't understand when we are in power, the battles we gotta fight that you will never know about. Never. Yeah.
Right. Well, you know, your privacy has always been important to me, and I would never say something that you didn't say. But I know that if you look at me, then clearly the world will know that you've already had the forbidden.
The of Sherri Shepherd's show after just 4 seasons feels bigger than one talk show ending. The daytime TV space is changing, and Sherri's rise is inseparable from the Wendy Williams show. We all remember when Sherri was a recurring guest host during Wendy Williams' health hiatus and was officially given Wendy's 10 a.m. spot. Once it was obvious Wendy wouldn't be ready to come back anytime.
Sherri Shepherd is out here losing it like someone pushed her too far after her show got canceled. And word is, it's all because she refused to play along with the industry's dark games. They supposedly wanted her to step into Oprah's shoes, but once she caught wind of that secret Illuminati type of energy behind it, she said, no way. She wasn't about to sell out for fame, and that's probably why she boldly stood up for Tyra Banks on live TV. Now, even though Tyra was dragged for allegedly mistreating Black women on America's Next Top Model, people came for Sherri hard. They said she was just defending another controversial celebrity. But that's not the whole truth. This situation cuts way deeper than that, because guess what? Katt Williams stepped in to defend her too. He said he faced the same kind of industry chaos when he refused to bow down. For anyone who hasn't been keeping up, Sherri has been trending like crazy lately. Her name is all over social media, and everyone's trying to figure out what really went down. The mess started when her show was canceled out of the blue. No warning, no reason, just gone. Fans were stunned because she hadn't done anything wild or scandalous before it happened. Plus, the show was doing solid numbers. It was pulling in views and stacking money fast. Something about the whole situation just doesn't add up. But baby, before we could even dive into the drama, Sherri had already lit the internet on fire by standing up for Tyra Banks. People were furious. They couldn't believe she was defending Tyra after everything that came out about how those girls were treated on America's Next Top Model. It was chaos online, comments flying left and right, and everyone wanted answers.
I regret making that girl chop her own hand off? Of course I do. Of course I do. Do I see it differently now? Of course I do. 20/20 vision in hindsight? Of course I wouldn't make her do that, but that you guys made me do that. That's what I'm saying. It's reality TV. You guys would have been more mad at me if I didn't make her do that. You see what I'm saying? My hands were tied. Okay, production said, you have to do this or the show is canceled. Okay, even though it was my idea to make her chop her hand off. And I spearheaded the whole thing, but my hands were tied. You guys forced me to do that. Would I do that today? Of course I wouldn't. Of course I wouldn't do that today. But we're in a different time now. We live in a different time. Do I regret making her chop her hand off? Of course I do. Would I take it back? Yeah.
So here's the setup. Netflix just dropped a 3-part documentary spilling all the behind-the-scenes dirt from America's Next Top Model. And let's just say, it was a wild ride. The doc exposed how some contestants went through emotional chaos, and right in the middle of all that mess was Tyra herself. She wasn't just the host, she was the one calling the shots, and a lot of what happened went way too far. Sure, the producers and judges weren't innocent either. They sat there and let it all go down for ratings and entertainment. But Tyra? She took it straight to the edge, no mercy. The way she talked to some of those women was downright harsh, tearing into their looks like it was sport. And the craziest part? After years of dishing out that kind of energy, Tyra later asked for compassion when she faced body shaming and lost her spot as a beauty standard in the industry. Like, how's that for irony? Girl, that's already a mouthful to take in. And believe it or not, this is just the surface of all the mess that went down. Tyra was dragging those poor girls like it was sport. And the wild part? It all played out on national television for everyone to see. Imagine going through something that painful, then having to watch it all over again when it aired. That's double the humiliation. And what makes it even sadder is that after all that emotional damage, most of those contestants never even made it big in the modeling world. Some of them reportedly ended up struggling hard, facing homelessness, addiction, and deep emotional scars. It's heartbreaking because what was it all for? Let's be real, those girls were brought on the show just to be torn down. They were made to feel small, embarrassed, and broken, all while producers cashed in and smiled at the ratings. Millions of dollars made off their pain, and when the lights went off, those same girls were left to pick up the pieces of their shattered self-esteem. That's not entertainment, that's exploitation. In the documentary, Tyra did try to take some accountability. She admitted she was wrong for prioritizing shock value over the mental health of those young women.
Our show has not been renewed for another season. And I wanna say to y'all, everybody, y'all try not to faint or fall out, because healthcare is expensive and none of us have it anymore. So y'all don't fall out. But I have to say, in thinking about it, I'm truly overwhelmed by the outpouring of love that I have received from all of you. The messages, I feel every bit of the love that you've been sending to me. And thank you so much. But I want to be clear. I'm not ready to throw in the towel on this show just yet. I'm not. We're going to be airing episodes all through the fall, and we're going to continue to fight to keep the show alive in some way, shape, or form. Yes.
But then, here's where she lost everyone. She started to spin it, saying she only acted that way because that's what the audience wanted. Like, what? Girl, are you owning up or just trying to pass the blame again? Nobody forced you to break those girls down on camera. You did that because it made good TV. Let's not twist it. You weren't protecting the art of modeling. You were chasing ratings. Let's just keep it real. But get this. After all that drama dropped, Sherri still went on her show and defended Tyra like her whole career depended on it. People couldn't believe what they were hearing. I mean, come on. Anyone watching that documentary could see the pain those contestants went through. Any regular person with an ounce of empathy would have called it out, but not Sherri. And honestly, when you think about her track record, it's not all that shocking. She's known for standing behind people that make everyone else raise an eyebrow. Not too long ago, the internet was dragging her left and right after she said she'd love to have Chris Brown on her show. The backlash was instant. Folks reminded her that Chris had multiple allegations against him, not just the one involving Rihanna, but others too. People were like, "Sherri, are you serious right now?" It was giving major bad judgment vibes. The fact that she brushed off all that history just to boost her guest lineup had everyone questioning what she really stands for. And it didn't stop there. She said that while people were already criticizing her for having Jonathan Majors on her show, yep, the same Jonathan Majors who's been accused of domestic violence too.
I felt that Tyra did not take accountability. It's been a lot of backlash online and everywhere. What should Tyra do?
Well, wow, yeah.
Actually, she should answer the questions.
She should answer the questions that they ask her.
I mean, look, I'm not her publicist.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure who her publicist is.
When asked about it, Sherri didn't back down. She said, "I've always been a fan of Jonathan Majors. He's an amazing actor. I wanted to hear his side of the story. I've always been a person who is a believer in grace and second chances." Like, girl, that's a bold stance to take with everything going on. It's giving controversy on purpose. Sherri really said, "I would love to have Chris Brown on, but there'll be a lot of backlash. Sometimes it comes with the territory." She even admitted she was ready for all the hate when she brought Jonathan Majors on her show. And just when people thought she might slow down with the controversy, she doubled down again, this time defending Tyra Banks. Sherri actually claimed that Tyra had every right to treat those girls the way she did because the show was from a different time. And back then, what Tyra did was apparently acceptable. Like, what? Girl, that's a wild hill to die on. And it gets crazier. During that segment, Sherri got so emotional that she broke down crying right there on camera. Real tears. If someone had tuned in without knowing what was happening, they would have thought she was mourning a loved one. But no, she was literally crying over defending Tyra's treatment of those contestants. That's when people online started saying maybe she wasn't just crying for Tyra. Maybe she was crying because she saw herself in that same kind of storm. Maybe she knew her own downfall was creeping up right behind her. After that dramatic moment, Sherri took things up another notch. She invited some of the America's Next Top Model judges onto her show for a follow-up discussion. But instead of pressing them about what went wrong, she stayed Team Tyra the whole time. She looked them straight in the face and asked, "What exactly do you all expect Tyra to do now that everyone's ganging up on her?" It was intense, and the way those judges responded left the audience in total shock. So basically, Sherri's out here saying that people don't understand what it's really like to be in her position, that folks like her are constantly calculating every move, every word, every decision, just to survive in the industry.
The of Sherri Shepherd's show after just 4 seasons feels bigger than one talk show ending. The daytime TV space is changing, and Sherri's rise is inseparable from the Wendy Williams show. We all remember when Sherri was a recurring guest host during Wendy Williams' health hiatus and was officially given Wendy's 10 a.m. spot. Once it was obvious Wendy wouldn't be ready to come back anytime.
She made it sound like she's always having to figure out what's smart, what's safe, and what won't cost her everything. And honestly, it almost sounded like she was dropping hints that she didn't actually choose to walk away from her show, like maybe she was pushed out. A lot of people online are convinced that's exactly what went down. There's a theory floating around that Sherri's show wasn't canceled because it failed, but because she refused to play along. According to that narrative, she was too positive for daytime TV. And let's be real, in this era, drama and chaos get clicks. Positivity barely makes a headline. If you remember, her show was only greenlit because Debmar Mercury needed someone to fill the Wendy Williams Showtime slot. And that's where the irony hits hard. Wendy's whole brand was built on spilling tea and calling people out. She made a career out of dragging celebrities, especially Black stars. And even though people side-eyed it, we still tuned in every single day. Wendy was messy, but she owned it. But here's where it gets way messier. Word is, before everything crashed, Sherri was negotiating for a massive pay raise and demanding big changes behind the scenes. She reportedly wanted to work fewer days each week but still make more money by filming multiple episodes in one block so she could free up time for acting gigs. And that's when things supposedly started turning sour. The network wasn't feeling her demands, and that's when the rumors began swirling that she might have made some powerful people very unhappy. Things between Sherri and Debmar Mercury started falling apart fast sometime last year. And here's the kicker. Her show was doing well. Ratings were solid, the money was flowing in, and everything looked good from the outside.
People don't understand when we are in power, the battles we gotta fight that you will never know about. Never.
But behind the scenes, it was chaos. Insiders say her contract didn't just quietly run out, it was deliberately terminated. Like they wanted her gone, point blank. If you really look at it, this whole situation sounds a lot like what happened to Katt Williams back in the day. When Katt started demanding higher pay for his work, the industry turned on him overnight. They tried to blackball him, and when that didn't work, they replaced him with Kevin Hart while spreading rumors that he was some out-of-control addict. That move still has people talking to this day. Now here's where it gets wild. Katt Williams actually jumped in to defend Sherri too. He said he believes she's being punished for refusing to use her platform to push certain industry agendas. Nobody knows exactly what those agendas are, but people have been side-eyeing how selective Hollywood can be about who gets to stay successful and who suddenly gets cut off. And when you think about it, there's a pattern here. Look at longtime hosts like Ellen DeGeneres and Oprah Winfrey. They kept their shows running for decades. That kind of longevity doesn't just come from good ratings, it comes from playing the game. And Sherri? It looks like she decided not to play by their rules, and that's when the trouble really started. Ellen and Oprah have both been linked to some seriously shady circles over the years. Names like Diddy, Weinstein, and even Epstein have been whispered around them. That alone should raise eyebrows, right? If this was really just about ratings, then Sherri's show would still be on air. Because let's keep it real. Her show was sitting comfortably in the top 3 most watched daytime programs across the entire country. Those numbers were no joke, so clearly something else was going on behind the curtain. And of course, once word got out, people had a lot to say. One person wrote, "If you're not pushing a certain agenda or telling the full truth, you'll be banished. Open your eyes, people." Another chimed in with, "I said this before. Sherri wasn't going for the BS. All respect to her."
Hi. Yeah.
Right. Well, your privacy has always been important to me, and I would never say something that you didn't say. But I know that if you look at me, then clearly the world will know that you've already had the forbidden.
The comments were full of folks who think Sherri's just being punished for standing her ground and refusing to play along with the industry's hidden rules. But now I gotta ask, what do you think about Katt Williams jumping in to defend her? Do you think he's right that she's being silenced for not conforming? And do you believe Sherri's show is gone for good? Or could a big comeback be in the works behind the scenes? Drop your thoughts below and make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more of this wild drama, because it's definitely not over yet.